So thanks for joining me on this. I've decided to call this series Out of Order. In my opinion, this is just one of many details that marks a Freemason and his family. What exactly does that mean? Simply put, they love to take things out of God's order. With our Creator God, so mentioned in the Holy Bible, there is an order to His creation and design, and the Freemasons know it. Not only do they know it, they want to defile it by mixing things up, taking things out of order, with an intention and purpose in doing so. I will not be going in chronological order with my memories either, mainly because it will flow better this way, but also because Out of Order is the name of their game. With all of that being said, this is my testimony, my opinion formed through my own personal experience, along with my knowledge of the subjects as found through reading and research. So picking up where we left off, I thought I'd go a little bit into my experience of scouting. As I've stated before, I believe this is training for children being brought up in a Freemasonic family. Oh, it's open to the public, of course, usually offered at most public schools. But it's been my experience that only those children of Freemason families actually finish or complete scouting. It's very much designed similar to the structure of Freemasonry, with higher levels as you learn and earn. Learn the skills taught, earn the badge or award associated with the skill. Earn are usually received in some form of ceremony, ritual, or banquet, but we'll get more into that later. There are oaths that are taken as children, especially in scouting, oaths that adults or parents force their children to partake in without fully understanding what those oaths mean. And I will clarify, I'm not saying that that some that have completed scouting is involved in Freemasonry, but I would say majority are. So let's define the word scout. To look or search, to keep watch, to observe, watch, look for, or follow as a scout. A person sent out to gain tidings or to keep watch. Girl Scout, Boy Scouts, fellow, chap, a college servant for scouting purposes, a soldier or vessel sent out in war, a person sent out to secure first-hand information as to the style of play, tactics, players, etc. of rival teams or clubs. And my grandfather, being a scout master, leader of a band of scouts, a leader of a troop of Boy Scouts. All of this sounds like spying to me. There is another word here that is mentioned in the definition, and it's called reconnoiter. So what exactly does that mean? Well, in the definition, it says recognance. To examine with the eye. To make a preliminary examination. Or survey, especially for the military or engineering operations. Now, isn't that interesting? Once again, let me reiterate here that scouting is training for children. Is this training for future military members as adults or future Freemasons? Children are definitely seen as assets in this system. I will get into the Boy Scouts briefly at the end of this discussion of the Girl Scouts, even though I have knowledge of both because both of my parents were Scout leaders. Obviously, I have more knowledge of Girl Scouts. So we're going to talk about that first, and probably with a little bit more detail. So this is the Girl Scout logo. Interesting that it reminds me of a fractured mind. And this is the founder of the Girl Scouts, Juliette Gordon Low. And I'm sure we won't have to look far to find her connections to Freemasonry. It states that she was inspired by the work of Robert Baden-Powell, founder of the Scout movement, which we'll get into more a little bit later. Juliette joined the Girl Guide movement in England, leading to creating the Girl Scouts in 1911. Also an interesting date there. The actual official date is March 12th, 1912, but we'll get to that too. Let's keep going. Scouting is also known as the Scout movement. It is a worldwide youth social movement employing the Scout method, which, according to Wikipedia, is a program of informal education with an emphasis on practical outdoor activities, including camping, woodcraft, aquatics, hiking, backpacking, and sports. It isn't just practical activities, it is skills that are learned. Not only learned, but celebrated in the form of award ceremonies, also with rituals or banquets, which simply means a banquet simply is a ritual that includes food. Look at the insignia here. Not only the colors, which also represents something in the Brotherhood, but the shape, a fleur-de-lis. They have this in common with the state of Louisiana. They also have this in common with the country France. You will also notice behind the shape of the fleur-de-lis resembles a clover or shamrock. And it also, the color means something, but also the shape means something in the Brotherhood. Specific organizations that perhaps sponsor or back financially the Scouting movement, at least in my opinion. The stated mission of the Girl Scouts is to build girls of courage, confidence, and character, who make the world a better place. It's beginning to look more and more like a Freemason organization, even in the usage of its words, like to build girls. And global talk, like making the world a better place, instead of making the United States a better place, or perhaps whatever country you live in. Members can earn badges by completing certain tasks and mastering certain skills. More senior members may be eligible for awards like the bronze, silver, and gold awards. And with every award comes a ceremony, ritual, or banquet associated with it. I'm beginning to see that when you look at something, there is always the good and the bad, or the positive and the negative, associated with how you look at something. And that includes these kind of organizations. So the Girl Guides were the first version of the Girl Scouts that began March 12, 1912 in Savannah, Georgia. And I mentioned that date earlier. And let me pause here for a moment to point out that that date is very Freemason. 3-3-1912. What do I mean by that? Well, technically that would be 3. Because March being the 3rd month, March 12th, the 2 and the 1 equals the 3. And the year, 1912, 2 and 1 once again equals the 3. Typically, when you see these kinds of numbers, like especially 3, repeated, that is usually a sign of the Brotherhood. For those who don't know, the Brotherhood of Freemasonry is very much into gematria and astrology. Both are frequently used, and numbers and symbols always have multiple meanings, or codes, if you will, within this Brotherhood. And when we look at Juliette Lowe's genealogy or ancestry, we of course find that she was an elitist from a very elite family, incorporating their family traditions into this organization. But we'll get more specific with her later. This organization received a congressional charter to help facilitate the funds. But we know that the philosophic organizations are the ones that usually sponsor and back these type of organizations to ensure their success, in my opinion. Girl Scouts, along with Boy Scouts, were organized into patrols, troops, local councils, and a national council. And you can see by the usage of the words here, which resemble descriptions of law enforcement or the military, that Scouting is an extension of these organizations for children. And for time purposes, I'm going to stop here and pick up in a part 2. And I do intend to wrap it up in a part 2. Briefly touching on the Boy Scouts as well. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for watching. The series that I was working on, Understanding the Enemy, I'm going to have to change the title. It is being suppressed because of the words. I'm assuming because of the word enemy. So I'm just going to have to name them individually, I believe, instead of trying to do a series. So we're still trying to figure that out. So thanks for bearing with us on that, and we will get it figured out. We're just having to watch how we say things, and we've been navigating through that for a minute now, so we'll continue to do so. Thanks for joining, and we'll catch up with you next time.